various supplements that I've bought. I heard a commercial about beet juice, so I found this product here, Bountiful Beets. Then I found something about, organic greens, fruits, and vegetable formula, so I got that right there.
Wow.
Advanced acidophilus. I've always heard that this is good for your, your gut.
Your bowels.
Your
Yeah,
bowels.
of course,
Okay.
because
Well,
bowels are important to you, right?
Yeah, the bowels are important.
Right. You got it. Because then everyone has overactive or underactive bowels.
All right, but then I got more. Hold on.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, the interesting thing, let me just point out, is the circulation superfood. So now it's a food, remember? So I thought this was medicine, but now it turns out it's a superfood. Now, I don't understand how it got to circulation other than the fact that beets are red. So, when you think of red beets, obviously it goes into your blood and makes everything red. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah,
Right.
well,
Because that's why it's
I'm going to tell you
right?
one
So
bad
that makes a
effect
lot
of
of
that.
sense.
If you have too much beet juice, when you go number 2, you think you're bleeding out your anus.
Well,
Yeah, think
let
about
me ask you about this though. So
Okay.
now you hear beets are good.
Yeah, I
Why
heard
not?
beets are good.
Yeah, right. Well, so why don't you go to Whole Foods, buy organic beets, throw them in a blender, press a button, and guess what? Instead of getting powdered junk, what the hell's in here? Look at it. Look, I mean, it doesn't look like beets at all. What do they put in this?
I have no
I have
idea.
no idea
Read
what
the
the hell-
ingredients. What do
Oh
you
my
think of those
God!
ingredients?
Holy cow! Look at these ingredients. Yeah, I mean, you would think that it would supercharge everything. So it just has beet juice powder, beet root fiber, and beet leaf powder, and then beetroot powder. So I'm not quite sure how they got this and how they powered it up, but I feel that in the process of taking a beet and turning it into a fine powder, there were machinery involved, and those machines all need lubrication, and there's dust that goes into all this stuff. There may be, rodents eating these beets.
Thanks. I'm
So
not taking that
now,
anymore.
right? Well, so now, where is the quality control standards?
I don't know.
That. So how do we know?
Does it have
that,
any quality control standards
Well,
mentioned on the
Of
packaging?
course, because remember, this comes from country farms, right? So obviously, this came from a farm, right? Well, we could look this up, and I guarantee you, it didn't come from any country farm. It actually came from an inner city warehouse where they're actually powdering this stuff.
Well, where does it say it's? Where does it say it's manufactured?
It's actually interesting.
Probably on
We
the
should-
label.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's
there
see.
are label laws, aren't there?
Not really. So this is
No,
West
that's good to know.
Caldwell, New Jersey.
Okay.
There are no farms,
In West
to my
Caldwell.
knowledge. Yes.
Yeah.
So somehow there is tricky labeling here because all this stuff says is that it's a farm fresh nutrition. So I don't know if it actually was fresh from the farm.
I will say
but-
this in defense: it does taste pretty good. It's better than Tang, and somehow I got all jacked up on it. I mean,
Oh.
what's the ingredient that makes you
Well-
feel all energetic, or is it?
Well, actually interesting. So the placebo effect relies
I
a
was gonna say
lot
that. So
on
it's a
sugar.
placebo.
So most medicines that you take have a lot of great sugar in it. And when you take this sugar, it gives you a really nice high, and that's a great thing for
Okay,
you.
well, look at the ingredients on the supplement fact.
Except-
are these accurate?
Well, let me see.
Would you say that's accurate?
Well, I mean, it says here calories are 25, but then you look at the servings, right? There's 30 servings in this thing. So, you don't know how much total that is. Now they have vitamin C in here, it turns out, and sodium, and the sodium isn't too high. But I gotta say, there's nothing on these ingredients that really make me
Okay.
make me wonder how this is a superfood for the circulation.
let's-
Because this basically looks like a Diet Coke,
Okay. All right. So let's move on to this one. I got this tart cherry, and this is an antioxidant. I feel like if I have a blueberry donut, it's better than having just a plain donut because it's got the blueberries in.
You're-
Antioxidants.
Well, I mean, you're probably
right about that?
I mean, you're probably right in some way. I mean, in that.
Can I actually have a donut?
Well, part of it is that if it's made with real blueberries, a lot of times
Oh.
they're made with blueberry flavor
Alright.
or color. If you get blueberry flavor or color, then you defeat the whole purpose. Then it's better to just get a plain donut.
Okay, here's what this supports. Helps support joint health, helps accelerate recovery, antioxidant superfruit.
And
There you go.
and so based on this labeling, you would think that they actually did studies on this, right? Because why would the bottle actually lie? But to my point, this says here dietary supplement, right? Check that out, Zach.
Yeah, I see that.
Right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I
That
have
means
no
that you
idea.
could actually put any nonsense on the label and not have to follow the same laws that pharmaceuticals have to follow. So if a pharmaceutical company dared do this, they'd be held up on charges and probably thrown in jail.
Okay, wait for this one. I have the cinnamon. Helps support normal blood pressure, helps support metabolism, helps support digestion. Now, traditionally, I would say cinnamon probably has some good characteristics. We all grew up using a little cinnamon for a reason, right? And I want you to notice on this label, it says something about the extract to be USDA verified. So here's this label. Read what's there.
Well, so interesting. In this case, they are saying that there is some verified cinnamon in this. Most labels do not have that. But even to the point, why would you need cinnamon extract? Why not just use regular cinnamon and put it in your coffee or something?
What if
it
I
just
took
doesn't
out of
make
the
any
capsule?
sense.
Would that be? Yeah, why wouldn't I get it just a jar of cinnamon?
Well, so it's interesting. I often do this, right? So now, so I take out the capsule, right? And then, and a lot of times, I'll tell you something. Remember, when you swallow this capsule, right, you got to actually digest this stuff,
Yeah, what's the capsule made out of?
So, look at this capsule. It's hard plastic. I don't know how this really gets absorbed and what is it made out of. It turns out you're eating plastic.
Okay.
Imagine I gave you this, Zach. Eat this. You would say, no way, it's plastic, right?
Right. But it would be something that you trick your little brother into doing.
Right.
Yeah.
They would eat something like this, and you would think that this would get stuck somewhere, and not be really healthy for you.
Oh my gosh!
But
I
if
never
you
thought
look,
of that.
If you
I
look,
always thought it was made out of like some sort of I don't know. Celery.
No, I guess they
celery.
powdered some cinnamon and they put it into a pill form. I'm not quite sure why you would want it in a pill form and coming from a bottle like this. But anyway,
it cost $12.99 for this bottle of cinnamon. That's a lot of money.
Well, we're right, because the same
I could have
bottle
gotten a
without
couple
the
of
capsules.
number 2s from McDonald's for that.
Right. Well,
been happier.
The same bottle with no capsules in it would be half the cost.
Okay.
So.
All right, you ready to move on to this one?
Absolutely.
Oh, wait.
I love all these products.
Here's one.
Do you have a fish oil? Because I love that. That's usually rancid in there.
First of all, I only use these Nordic ones that are certified not to have mercury contaminations. It's like Nordic. There are supplements, that fish oils, that come from the Great White North, out of Norway. I don't know the exact name, but there's a whole community of people that will use those.
And you verified this independently?
Well, no, but
there's a lot of great labeling.
There's a whole group of people that'll use it. All right.
Well,
look
but
at
it's
this.
interesting you say that, because again, like on this, remember, this came from the country farm in New Jersey, in a non-farm area of New Jersey. So obviously, this is not fresh from a country farm.
Okay. Here's one that cost me $39.70. I hate the taste of these, so that's why they're not being used. And you have to have 3 tablets per serving. And I'm looking at the various ingredients here. They look good to me. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not stupid.
Well,
look, salt palmetto. Anyway, here you go.
That's
great.
That. So it says male multiple, which
I don't think we should mention the brand, but
no. Hold on. It's not the brand. I'm not talking about the brand. I'm just talking about what the labeling is. So like you're looking at you're just walking around shopping, and it says male multiple. Now, obviously. The interesting thing about it is no one knows what you're treating here, because what does male multiple mean? I guess it's a multivitamin.
All right, here's how you want to know how I take it?
Yes.
I'm not a doctor, right? So I see a male multiple vitamin. I figured that there must be something in there that is for prostate health, okay? What I've been told, you're kind of, I guess, programmed to think that some of these supplements will be good for your prostate. They might be good for, your heart, your circulation. Maybe men need different levels of this, that, or the other thing.
Well, the interesting thing about this label, and I must say, I think they did include a lot of junk in here, but the reason they included the junk is so on the labeling, you can't really see. I have pretty good vision, and it's really hard to make out what is in this thing. And the reason I bring that up is because if you make a label such as this, you really have a hard time really discerning what's in there. And the only thing you could actually read is advanced phytonutritional, which sounds great, multiple vitamin, mineral herb, and an herbal formula for men. So I mean, the main thing for this is that it keeps saying formulated for men. Now, women, if they take this, will they be poisoned? That's my question.
Well,
to you.
you know, and if I take the ones that are made for women, will I grow boobs?
That's
You know,
right.
that's what I would ask.
And no one knows because no one, you know, you may grow boobs with this because what a lot of these products have is they have low level estrogens, and low level estrogens actually make you feel a little bit more like a man, but it makes you grow boobs and other things that you don't like.
And cry when you're watching movies.
That's right. Get hot flashes.
You know what makes me cry? I want you to. Do you have a calculator? I don't have a price on this, but right.
Yeah.
This is $12.99.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So that's 13. Yeah.
This is $17.99.
All right. So that's 30. Okay.
By the way, that's the copay to go see a doctor.
Right. That's
between those
$30
two.
right there. Yeah.
Okay. This one I don't have the price on. This one I'm going to say it was probably just about the same price as that one, so another $18.
Okay. That's
I
close
can't
to
believe
50.
I paid $12.99 for frickin'
Right, like cherry.
Whatever
I mean, you could probably buy a fresh thing of tart cherries.
And this one is $40. Plus,
Unbelievable.
I don't know if they tax it, but
so we're getting.
so we're almost like $100.
We're at over
100.
100. Yeah, we're
for
over
all of
100.
this, and it does nothing.
Right.
I have more over there. I was trying to lose weight, so I got talked into doing these multi-level marketing things, which I didn't do my part, but I got the shakes. I'm thinking, oh, these shakes are great,
Right.
except that the shakes kept giving me diarrhea because it was dairy, and I have a aversion, I guess. I must be allergic to some dairy products, so I got the vegetarian blend. I did a little better than that, but I don't even know what's in it. You want me to get it?
Well, interesting.
Hold on.
Yeah,
you just make your comment. I'll go get it.
Well, yeah. Well, why don't we take a look at it? But you know, what I find is that a lot of these nutraceuticals include dairy products in it, and dairy products are very unhealthy for most human beings. I mean, if you think about it, cows, when they get past a certain age, never drink cow milk anymore. And humans, when they get over a certain age, never drink human milk anymore. So I'm not quite sure why we take cow milk and supplement a human diet with cow milk.
Well,
obviously, most humans have lactose intolerance for a reason.
Well, let me just say this. When I was a baby, I used formula. I was formula fed, but before they had the formula, they used condensed milk. So that's what I grew up on. Then when my wife was giving birth to Sophie, the doctor's like, you got to breastfeed, you got to breastfeed. And for whatever the reason, it wasn't working for her. So I went in as the dad. I go, you know something? I was raised on formula. Give her the formula. And then we had to experiment with that because she didn't do very well with the milk proteins. We used a thing called alimentum, which they had to, I guess, heat it a certain way to change the shape of the protein in order for the kid to digest it. So, yes, we've always had problems in our house with dairy products, and I avoid them for the most part. The only thing I can tolerate is yogurt and cheese. Now, I know that you have a different opinion about that, but that's not what this show is about right now. We'll get to that some other time. I've got more. You ready for this? So, above and beyond everything else, trying to live a healthy life, I don't smoke. I hardly ever drink, but I'm overweight. And I've tried to lose weight so many times, and it's always the same thing. So far, so good. I've lost about, maybe when I was at my heaviest, I must have lost about 80 pounds and gained only 20 of it back within 5 years. Because no matter what weight program that you're on to lose weight, chances are you'll gain some of it back. I guess the thing is, you don't want to gain it all back, or gain it all back and then some. So I've been able to do that. So I'm cool with that. And I, as far as I'm concerned, I know I have to lose, maybe, I'm going to say this, another 90 pounds, but I don't look like I have to lose another 90 pounds. That's the number I decided, right? But I'm okay, even if I don't lose another thing, I'm fine with myself, you know. So I went and I got this, and this is Isoflush. I have no idea what this does. It looks like it's got hemlock. It's got hemlock in it. No, it doesn't. But look at this. And this is part of a package that I paid maybe $500 a month for.
I mean, again, very interesting naming.
I got more for you here.
Yeah, I'm
this
just thinking, what is
part of the deal.
Isoflush? And it says promotes balanced digestive regularity. So I guess it means that it has some fiber in it, and then you.
I don't know.
Better?
Look at the ingredients. You tell me. I've never taken this stuff.
But if you consulted a doctor, I would have given you something called Colace, which actually works and is actually pure because Colace is made by a pharmaceutical manufacturer that has to be FDA approved before you can actually market a Colace product.
Okay.
So the interesting thing is that there's much better alternatives that a doctor could give you, but instead people go in and look at Isoflush.
Well,
which
you know,
is
here's the
an
other thing
interesting
too. We get caught up in the great slick marketing where you have the really pretty people and the guy takes his shirt off and the woman looks excellent. She's got the nice abs and all of those things.
Right.
And we think that somehow by some miracle, by taking these various products, we could look like that too.
But-
Now this has nothing to do. Let me just say this. Anything that I'm taking here, doctor, and I want you to look at this too. This is the shake. This is the meal replacement.
I mean, the funny thing, and again, this makes me laugh every time I look at the labeling, because it has all these healthy fruits and vegetables on there.
That's nice
So
pictures.
It's great
Slick
pictures. It's
marketing.
called INX Supreme, and it's nature's answer. So apparently, this powdered junk is nature's answer.
Give me credit.
So-
I had never opened it.
right, but
Do you know what? I bought this stuff because I felt bad for a guy who was losing his job. So I was like, okay, I'll buy
okay.
that.
All right,
Keep
well-
some food on your table.
Well, here it is. The multi-level marketing really works
Right.
because they powder bad fruits and vegetables that are rancid, and before they go like thrown out in the
Oh.
garbage, they powder all
That's
the old
nice.
stuff. You know, like, remember, the supermarkets have a lot of junk that they
Right.
have to.
Oh, so that's
clear
great.
out.
They repurpose it and
so-
it ends up in a can.
Right. So
I
what they
gotcha.
do is they powder it and then they try to sterilize the bacteria out of it.
Okay, so let me just reiterate. All of the stuff I'm taking had nothing to do with weight loss. It was more about trying to be healthier. And I know that when I'm out and about, chances are I'm not going to eat the best foods that are available to me because I'm always on the run. So then I got these shakes, which is a meal replacement.
You know, could I make a quick point? I mean,
Of course you can.
This is, you know, so these shakes, you know, interestingly, again, there's isoline shake, you know, so it makes you think that by drinking this you get leaner, and actually, in reality, I mean, you know, it has like
It's dairy free, by
you
the
know,
way.
dietary fiber, huge amount. There's fat in there. There's you know, protein 44%. So now, if you drink this alone, half of your dietary protein is taken up. Now, if you have a steak on top of this, you've had 10 times the amount of protein
So
that you
what,
need
what,
in a day.
what that'll do
So-
is it'll throw you into ketosis, right?
well, what it does is it just makes you store more of your energy into fat. So
Oh.
it doesn't really matter like what they write lean here. You know, so they're assuming that you only drink this 3 times a day, then you may get leaner. But even
Or
if you
2.
drink this 3 times a day, this will have more protein than you need in a
Okay,
day.
well-
so I wouldn't even recommend drinking this 1 time a day.
I got news for you, all right? If you did those 2 shakes and you just had a small dinner, like that old commercial, you will lose weight. You know why? Because you're not taking in more calories than you need as an end result, and that comes to the self-control. Now, having said that,
That's correct, but this will not allow
I know
you
that.
to
I-
just drink 2 shakes
Yes.
and a small dinner.
I totally understand that. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, it works for people because if that's all they're doing, yeah, you're going to lose weight because you're just not having enough calories to maintain the weight you are. You're taking in less amount of calories.
You're
right?
you're absolutely right.
Right.
A lot of our energy requirements we overdo. So you know I like to paint a picture in people's mind about what we used to do 2,000 years ago. You know, because
Okay.
right now, you know,
Hey, listen, when you're bringing up like their era of Jesus, I'm all about that, man.
yeah, man, I you know, like what happened, you know, what would Jesus do, you know, is
Okay.
kind of what I'm going to say here.
Yeah.
But so interestingly, you know, for men 2,000 years ago, I mean, you would have to spend all day hunting for
Yep.
animals.
Or fishing.
Fishing,
Yeah.
hunting, all that expends a lot of energy.
Right.
And now you have to make that up again. And not every hunt is going to be successful. So most days you won't actually bring any meat home.
Well, not
And
even
so-
every fishing expedition. Have you ever gone fishing? It's very hard to catch a fish.
Sure, especially, I mean, nowadays we have all kinds of modern
Contraptions. You still can't catch it.
Right, and it's still hard to do. But I
Right.
mean, picture back when,
Yeah, right.
where we, you know, what hooks do we
Well,
use?
don't
I
you
mean,
remember that Peter and the apostles were fishing all night, and
Right.
then the Lord's on the shore. He goes, "Put your net back out in the water, and you'll gain the fish." And they were like, "Wow!" I mean, it was a miracle just to be able to get that fish. Think about what they saw with their own eyes. So that's cool in itself. But you're right. Look at how I'm a German, Russian, Norwegian, and some Irish and English. Okay, like that very northern type of blood. We were used to being in the winter all the time. I mean, look at my skin. Obviously, I didn't get a lot of sunlight, or my people. We went for fatty fishes, right? Because that was the best way to consume energy. We dried a lot of the food too, I would imagine.
Sure.
What we'd catch because we'd have to prepare for the off season. We dry the protein, some fruits. I guess, you know. But yeah, I'm not living anywhere or anything like my ancestors
Well,
did.
so part of the reason I go back is because this isoline shake here
I know
is
you
kind of
almost
like,
called it.
yeah, like, you know,
Isopoop.
right.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it probably, most of it will end up there anyway.
Yeah.
But interestingly, you know, this kind of ISO formula would take us several days to hunt and gather,
Okay.
just so that we could
Very
eat
good
it.
point.
But now we're eating this as kind of like a small replacement, like one out of thousands more calories.
All right,
coming
so
out.
basically you can overdo a good thing. That's one thing, right? I mean, you can have too many good nutrients, right?
Well, that's completely correct because when you're looking at 44, so if you're looking at the nutritional facts and you see, oh, it has 44% of the daily intake of protein that's necessary. Well, you start thinking, well, now I had breakfast. Now, I had like bacon for breakfast. So that's another 50+%. So now you're already over it, and you haven't even had lunch or dinner. And
well,
the biggest meal of the day is dinner.
All right, so
we're really in trouble.
Here's where we are. Obviously, I spent thousands of dollars on this junk, but my goal is to outlive all the people that I annoy, and really be there for my daughter for many years. I want to live to around 100. Right? I don't think that's unreasonable to ask for 100 years.
Well,
so my next question is, you're my doctor, and I want you to help me take this journey to better health by getting rid of all of the nonsense, not being ignorant about, how we're supposed to live, eat and live and live well and all of those things, but help me with, what your technology that you have to live a better life, to be healthier, to maybe, is it out of the realm of possibility if we eat better and take better care of ourselves, we can avoid getting the typical cancers or, those elderly diseases that affect so many people?
Well, interesting that you bring this up because there's been a lot of studies saying that the food we eat is toxic. So it's actually interesting. All food we eat is toxic. So
I would agree with that.
And the less food you eat overall, just the less food you eat, is healthier for you. Most people who live long lives do not eat tons of food. They eat enough to survive. So it's actually interesting because, in this day of plenty, you don't need to store a lot of fat here. I mean, back a long time ago, we would need to store some fat so that when the winter comes and the hunting gets really kind of lean, we would have calories in store so that we can make it through, similar to polar bears. I mean, if you look at what a polar bear does, I mean, he's, before the hibernation, he's a fat polar bear, or else he doesn't survive.
Right.
And so we do have a natural tendency to gain weight, to be able to store calories when we need it more. The problem is that in the winter we probably eat more calories than we do in the summer, because in the summer we're out and we actually need more calories because we're kind of swimming and jogging and things like that.
I mean, our whole society, everything that we do, let's meet for lunch, let's meet for dinner. Everything involves food. Even you make love, it's like, go get a pepperoni pizza. No matter what it is, it seems like food is always around.
And not only that, alcohol is also a big cause of weight gain.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
again,
I mean,
there's
I
empty
hardly
calories
drink
in
it,
that.
but yeah, I mean, I'll have a beer on occasion or a wine,
But
maybe
again,
a shot of liquor.
But again, you meet at a bar and you start drinking, and even when you're not hungry, you're drinking a ton of beer.
and then you're doing the pretzels and the peanuts and all that stuff, so you add to it. So, what is the latest in technology as far as longevity, better health, and weight loss?
So there are technology out there that extends what is called the telomeres of your chromosomes.
I've heard of telomeres.
So the telomeres in your chromosomes are actually real science that that we know that as you get older you lose telomeres.
Right.
And the reason a lot of our skin cells start looking older, and the reason our hair starts looking older, the reason a lot of our physical changes happen, we lose size, we lose weight, and this is all with extended age because the telomeres are being knocked out. Now there are telomere extending compounds out there, and they're around $100, but they actually work.
Actually, yeah, this is $100 wasted money. No, it's more. I'm going to tell you right now. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. I have sought all kinds of different supplements that I thought would make my life better. I mean, some of it is because I hear somebody on the radio saying that, oh, you use this beet juice, and I'm like, oh, okay, great.
But the problem with someone,
I mean, I'm so easily suckered by that kind of stuff. And I'm in radio. I should know better.
I always tell my patients, the same thing, which is, where'd you hear about this? Because a lot of people come to me and they say, I drank so much cranberry juice, and this is an insane.
Well, that's the old grandma's thing when the kidney infection or bladder.
Well,
drink cranberry.
Again, before we had antibiotics, before we had advanced treatment for urinary tract infections, the solution would be drinking a lot of water. What cranberry juice does is it makes you really thirsty. I don't know if you've had real cranberry juice.
I love cranberry juice. Cranberry and club soda is my favorite drink.
That's right, but you need the club soda in there, otherwise, it's going to be like drinking poison in there. So this is what actually ends up happening is that you feed someone poison, they're going to need a lot of water to
compared to borscht. I mean, come on, cranberries.
Well,
you know what I'm saying.
But I got to say, all I'm going to say about borscht, though, is that it comes from real beets and water. I mean, you can't top beets and water, right? I mean, it doesn't
really. Beets and water is really good for you.
Well, I was actually thinking maybe I could take this and make the borscht out of it. You put
I
this
was
into
thinking
the
of
water,
the same damn thing.
Right? It's like
Maybe a little onions in there.
Let's see how it tastes.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, there's stuff that they put in here that's not in borscht.
Okay, let's get back to the telomeres. What is now? Let's just say, after all is said and done, because now people are really interested. They realize that a lot of the stuff that they are getting is just useless and a waste of money. You're better off just gambling with it, really.
Well, no,
you're better off playing the slots.
No. Well, a couple of things that I say. My gamble is I'd rather go to Whole Foods, buy the junk that's in here.
Yeah, I know.
So get the cinnamon, get the beets, and put it in a blender and press.
What do you want me to do with this?
Blend.
You're my doctor.
I mean, the first thing I tell people to do is just immediately throw it in the garbage because what happens is this gets moldy.
Throwing money. This too?
Everything. Because then
this too?
Everything.
That's not good.
I mean,
all right.
God, and then cinnamon.
This is bad.
We need a vacuum cleaner for that.
Throw this out.
Get rid of the shakes IsoFlush. I'm going to flush this right down.
Really? Get rid of these shakes?
Oh my God! It was packaged well.
I don't like this. Well, listen, I'm doing it because I want better health, so I'm willing to throw away the junk.
Right.
We all have to throw away. We got to get rid of the junk. We hold on to too much bad stuff, whether it's on a spiritual level, whether it's on a physical level, mental level, you name it. We are just really into hoarding and look at all the junk I have in this place. Got to get rid of all of this stuff.
Well, that's our nature from the beginning has always been to acquire more stuff because you never know when you're going to use it.
That's
right. And the interesting thing about today is that there's so much sources of junk, and instead of buying one good product, you'll buy 100 products of junk, and it'll make you feel good because you're taking 100 different things.
We are running out of time, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick up where we left off, and I just remembered Frank Zappa once said. He said, communism won't work because people like owning stuff. Well, that's very wise, an astute observation. Now that we've gotten to the point where I'm throwing out all the junk, the next time we get together, we're going to talk about what to do next, taking that next step. And we'll talk more about the telomeres and DNA and RNA, whatever you want to talk about, but we'll do it in a way that's really easy to understand.
And, I think more important, scientific, because science is more important than even understanding, because people could understand that it makes you healthy, but without the science, no one knows what that means, which doesn't tell you anything. So simple is good, scientific is better.
Well, also, it's very important to understand the source of the science because that is a key as well. And that's what we call a hermeneutical survey, which will take my expertise in theological explanations of things and bring them into the scientific community. See how that goes. I bet you that'd be really interesting to listen to.
Well, it's actually interesting. There's a lot of science that came from the church that has been discounted based on new science that hasn't been validated, and it's actually interesting because there are a lot of interesting kind of old school technologies that the church knew about that we don't quite understand anymore.
Or how about this? When science was doubting the church the entire time and it do some research and it finds out that it really did happen. This event happened. Or here's the one that gets me, and we got to really go. I remember people going, "We have evidence that King David existed." Okay, bravo. You doubted the existence of King David. Wow. Now we have evidence that he existed. So you know, we'll make sure that we do a good job of analyzing the source of the science and then breaking it down so that the average person can make better informed decisions and go for the right type of help, because that's the key. You just can't listen to what you hear on the radio, even though we're on the radio, or see on the website, even though we might be on a website. You have to have due diligence. You have to really seek out for the truth, right?
I agree. I mean, I think unless you hear it from a source, so that's why I asked you, like, where'd you hear it from? Because
I heard it on the radio.
Right.
I should know better.
I mean, when you hear it on the radio, is it a doctor on the radio?
No,
I mean, outside
well,
of Dr. Oz. I mean, Dr. Oz sounds like a real doctor. The problem is with Dr. Oz is now you got to pay $1 million to get a commercial on his channel.
Yeah.
So if you got to pay someone $1 million to get a commercial, I don't
That's
know
why,
how.
There's why you gotta consider the source. But anyway, we're out of time. We're gonna get to all of this stuff on our next show.